Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you the 6 basic knots required for the Traveller Advancement, as well as a couple of other knots that you normally use quite often that are part of the Pioneering Scoutcraft badge. The first knot I'm going to show you is the Reef Knot. This is the main knot that we use to connect ropes. So you'll have the two working ends of your two ropes. You take the one, you put it over the other and over the other and put it underneath. So you get this elbow. Then you take the right hand side rope and you put it over the left hand one and pull it through again. You know you've done it right when these two ropes are right next to each other, and the same with these two. So I'll do it again again for you. So it's left over right, under, right over left, under, and you get it with all of the ropes being parallel. The mistake people normally make is that they do left over right and then they do left over right again. This is what makes a granny knot, and you've made a granny knot. When you pull the ends, it everything goes like a plus sign, as you can see here. Problem with this is that it's very quick to pull, tighten itself and just slip off, and it's also more difficult to untie. The next one is the sheet bend. The sheet bend is the knot we use to connect ropes of differing thicknesses so for example, a thick rope to a thin rope. So with a thick rope, which is this red one here, you make a bight. So a bight is when you fold the rope and it doesn't, so it sits next to each other and makes this U shape. So you hold it, then with a thin rope, you take it out of the bight, you take it around the bight, and this is the important bit. You do not put it back in, because this will make you a reef knot. What you do is you put it underneath the thin rope again. So the little working end you had now comes out perpendicular to the other two ropes. So it makes this T shape. So I'll do it again. With a thick rope, you make a bight. With a thin rope, you come out of the bight, go around the bight, and you put it back under itself, but not back in the bight. And this would also use to set up the flag before a flag break. The next rope is the bowline. This one is normally used by Sea Scouts for sailing, but we also use it on large pioneering projects when you don't have a harness handy, and also just fun to play with. So what you would have is you would have a loop that would go around your body. So let's say this is you. So this loop is going around you. Then you take the long end, which goes off somewhere else, and you turn it in such a way that when you follow it from your working end, it goes around, over, under. So you see it goes over itself, then under itself. Now you take your working end, you take it out of the loop, around your dead end, and put it back into the loop. A thing to notice here is this looks very, very much like a sheepshank, a sheet bend. When you turn it over, you see here is your bight, there is your rope coming out of your bight and under itself. So to do it in another way is to name certain parts of the rope. For example, the one we normally use is that this is a hole, this is a tree, and this is a snake. So what you do is you take the snake, you take it out the hole, you take it around the tree, and you put it back into the hole to make your sheet bend. Your bowline, sorry. The mistake that a lot of people often do is that they don't turn this the right way around. So if we turn it the other way, so it goes under and over, if you follow the same steps, it just unties itself and you can't use it. So remember, it is over, under. The next rope knot we're going to do is called the figure of 8. The figure of eight is what we call a stopper knot, and is also used in sailing more often than scouting. So the way you do this knot is you do a loop like that. Then you're working and you take it underneath to make your figure of eight shape, and you take your working end and put it through the top loop, and you get the eight again. So I'll do it again with more rope. So you make your loop, you put it underneath to make your figure of eight, and then you put it through to make the figure of eight. The reason we prefer this one over our thumb knot is that the thumb knot, when you pull it tight, it becomes very difficult to untie. Where when the figure of eight is pulled tight, you just pull it apart and then it unties by itself. So the next knot I'm going to show you is a connecting knot like the reef knot and sheepshank, and it's called the Fisherman's Knot. So with the Fisherman's Knot, you'll have your two ropes, you put them next to each other when they're going in opposite directions. Then with the one, you tie a thumb knot around the other rope, like so, and make sure that it keeps going straight up. Then you do the same thing with the other rope. So as you can see here, this is how it's done wrong, where it wants to push itself to make a plus sign. So let's do it correctly. And when you pull it together, the two knots lock together to make it a very secure connection. This would normally use to make, we use this to make ropes longer, say when we don't have long enough guidelines or long enough ropes for lashing. And then as you can see, it's easy to untie. You just pull the two ropes apart and you untie the two thumb knots. The next knot I'm going to show you is Bowline-on-a-Bight. This is for the pioneering badge. With Bowline-on-a-Bight, you don't have your two working ends. You are working, as the name suggests, with a bight, like so. So what you do is you have your bight with your rope folded in half. You go up a little bit, and you make your half hitch, or your over, your under, like with the normal one. Then you take your bight, you put it through, but this is the important bit. You don't take it around the back. What you do is you pull it underneath everything so that it comes up over here. And then it makes your bowline. And now you've got two loops. So you'd normally put your two legs through there. So this one will take a lot of practice to get right, because it often can go wrong. But let's just quickly do it again. So you have your bight. You make your over under, very important, your over under half hitch. You take the bight, you put it through, you pull everything through, and then it catches itself over there. And now you've got two arms, and this is for the pioneering scoutcraft badge. After the bowline, now we're going to get onto the hitches, which we use when making fences, for guy lines, for starting pioneering, for starting the lashings, and these are very important. So the first one I'm going to show you is the one we use for lashings, called the Clove Hitch. So you'll have your rope, you will have your pole. What you do is you take it around the pole, like so, where it goes around and crosses it so it makes this P shape. Then you take it around the other side, so now it looks sort of like a figure of eight, and you put it underneath. And now if you look at it, you can see there is an X shape. If you don't have this X shape, you've probably made a mistake somewhere along the line, so I'll do it again. So you take your rope, take it around, and you put it over to the other side. Then you take it around again, and you put it underneath itself to make this 8 shape over there, and then you pull it, you get an X shape. And to show you, you can do it the other way around as well. If you're left-handed, instead of taking it around the right side, take it around the left side, take it around again, and put it up through under itself. This is also for the traveler advancement. And there you go, you've got your X shape. A derivative of this, a much stronger hitch, is you do it the same way of you take it over, so you do that. Instead of just plain doing that, you would, after you put it underneath this one, this top one, you take it around over there, and this is what you call a constrictor knot. So the thing with the constrictor knot, it's well known for, instead of loosening, it is known for breaking whatever it's tied to before it breaks, if the rope is strong enough. So I'll quickly do the constrictor knot. You don't need to know it, but it's a nice hitch to know. So you started like a clove hitch. Clove hitch. You do a clove hitch. So now you've got your clove hitch. But before you finished, you make yourself some space and you take your working end and put it underneath the right loop to make your thing, your constrictor knot. And it's got a unique shape. Let's see if I can get it there. So you see it goes left of itself, then right of itself over there. Then this we use for starting all of our lashings. Then the next hitch I'm going to show you is the one we use for guy lines and fences and tent poles and a whole lot of other things. And this is called the round turn 12 hitches, or as we often abbreviate it to, the RT2H. So round turn for the RT and 2H for 2 half hitches, but half hitches is 2 H's. So RT2H. You will have your pole. So say this is busy sticking out of the ground here. Okay, it's busy rolling. But say it's sticking out the ground. So what you do is you wrap it around once. Then you take it around again. So you see it's spun around. Then this is the important bit, the 2 half hitches. You take the rope and you put it underneath itself as if you're doing a square knot, right? And then you take it around again. Okay, let's give ourselves some more space to work with. Okay, there. And then you take it around the rope again and put it underneath itself. To make our round turn and 2 half hitches. What you will notice is that this looks very much like a clove hitch, and that means you've done it right. So it's round turn and 2 half hitches, RT2H. I'll do it again. Round turn goes around once, so it looks like that. And then you do 1 half hitch, give ourselves more space, and you do another half hitch. This, to do on camera, it's a bit difficult, but I hope you get the idea. And the tightness is adjustable, so you can shorten and lengthen rope as you need it. After the round turn 12 hitches is a pioneering scoutcraft badge hitch, which we normally use in pioneering on tall things, called the rolling hitch. Now there are 2 variants of the rolling hitch, and I'll show both of them here. It's very much like a clove hitch, and you normally put this at the top of a pole. So you do it like a clove hitch, but the difference with a clove hitch, instead of going underneath again, you go around the thing and put it around. Let's give us more space. So you started like a clove hitch, But then instead of doing that way around, you take it around your dead end again. And this is where the variants come in. You can either put it underneath both of them, and this gives it a strong direction. It gives you strong friction against that particular direction, but can be pulled the other way. So it's rolling in the other direction. The second variant is instead of taking it under both of these, you just take it underneath the one. And this looks much more interesting. So you've got your line, dead end, and then this comes out that way. And also doesn't like going one way, but will happily move the other way. So I'll quickly do it again for you. You started like a clove hitch, and I'll do it the other way around. You started like a clove hitch, but instead of going under, you take it around the rope again. More space. Start like a clove hitch, take it around, and then you either put it underneath both of your round goes or just the one, and that is a rolling hitch. This last one is called a sheepshank. This isn't a hitch, this is just a rope that's part of the traveler advancement, but we don't ever use. I'm not sure why we still have it, but it's useful to know. It's called the sheepshank. The thing that's so difficult about this knot is that it falls apart really easily. So let's give ourselves plenty of room so you can see what you're doing. So you make an S shape like this, where you have your two working ends and your two bites. Now with the sheepshank, as you can imagine, it shortens the rope quite a lot. And also, importantly, very important, it takes tension off of this part of the rope. So if you have a damaged rope, you'd put this in the middle of your sheepshank. Now, with the sheepshank, you take your working end, you make a hitch like so, where it's over, under, and you turn it and put your bite through it. So you see like that. So now it's busy choking. This loop is busy choking the bite. Then you do it on the same. So it's like a fisherman's in a way. You do it symmetrically. And you make sure that your two loops or working ends and half hitches choke your bites. And another way to remember how to do this is that these two loops here look very much like sheep ears, so a sheepshank. And then it stays tight. When you pull it tight, it doesn't move. But if you loosen it even for a little bit, it can always just come undone. So another way of doing it is a way of doing it in your hand. This is far easier in person, but I'll try my best to show you here on the camera. Is you make the S shape, you hold it in your hand. Then up here, you make your half, you take it around your bite and you put it underneath itself. So you see it makes a bite. Then you swap it around in your hand and you do the exact same thing over here. Take it around and put it underneath itself to make a bite. Okay? And then here you have a sheepshank. And that is part of the traveler advancement. Thank you for watching, and I hope I've helped you learn something.